How y'all doing this morning? All right, we have a very special treat for you, of course, this morning. Let me introduce to you the MC for the writers panel, Mr. Joe Stevens. The wonderful and talented G.M. Barrow. The always lovely Amy Keaton-Rogers. And of course, the man himself, M.A. Larson.
Good morning, BronyCon. This is the writers panel, and we have fabulous guests with us. Just a brief introduction if you don't know who you are seeing here. We have M.A. Larson, who is known for Sonic Rain Boom, Return of Harmony, and Magical Mystery Cure. And next we have G.M. Barrow, who is the writer on the Pony novels. We're with us. First one is the Crystal Heart Spell, Pinkie Pie, and I actually wrote it down here, the Rockin' Pony Palooza Party. Very good. And soon to come out, the Daring Do Double Dare. And to my right is Amy Keating-Rogers, known for Ticketmaster, Best Night Ever, and A Friend Indeed. So I'm going to go ahead and get started off with some good questions here. I want to start out with M.A. Larson. Now, with Amy and GM, I actually have a long list of very well-researched, in-depth questions, but with Mitch, I think I'm just going to wing it. So, M.A., what is your favorite post-Beatles Paul McCartney band? I'm not even going to answer. No. All right, in all seriousness, you actually had a very big task with this final episode with Magical Mystery Cure. Was it always supposed to be a musical, or was it, how did you approach when you first were said you're going to write the finale to season 3? How did that meeting go?
Yeah, it was pretty early on. It was decided it was going to be a musical because we couldn't get more than a half hour. So, and it's a lot of stuff to happen, obviously. And a musical is a good way to quickly move through story and things like that. So it was decided really early on. I think I wrote it before some of the other episodes that aired before it because Daniel needed so much time to do all the music.
So it was actually because there's more, you have more time for exposition in a musical style episode as opposed to where they're just talking, so you can get more out of a musical?
You can do time jumps easier and, breeze through things in 2 minutes that would take 10 minutes.
And when you're writing a script for a musical, is it longer, or is it just like, does it double the length of the script, but it shortens the length of the time that the exposition's going?
It's exactly the same. Yeah. But actually, most of the songs were written by Daniel. I had similar songs in there, but he rewrote them when he decided the style of the music and things like that. So, it's really early, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you for waking up with us. Thank you, everyone, for waking up with us. I know there was a lot of party going on last night. You had a lot of fun, right?
Can I try that again?
What's that?
Let me try it one more time.
Okay.
So the first song in the episode, I wrote the lyrics to pretty much as they were. The other ones, I wrote similar lyrics to what actually aired, but Daniel, took them and made them cool because I can't write lyrics. Thank you. And then there were a couple songs that got cut just for time, which was too bad. I had Stephen Magnet singing and stuff like that. So
there was a Rarity song too, right?
there was a Rarity song.
Everything you loved was cut.
There was a photo finish appearance cut. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking, you guys.
Pour in some more, quick.
Well, Amy,
Yes.
you were an integral writer to season 1 and season 2, and then sadly we're not a part of season 3, but you're back for season 4.
I am.
So tell us, does it feel any different?
It feels more awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's coming back for season 4 was fantastic because as was revealed at Comic-Con, I got to come back, backing up, I was at BronyCon last year and hanging out with Megan McCarthy, and at the writers panel last year, I sang my version of the Smile song. And so then Megan emailed me and said, we're going to be writing a musical for season 4, and you are obviously the right person to write this. Do you want to? And I said, yeah. And so that's what I got to come back on season 4 and write a musical. And it centers around Pinkie, which... So first a musical, which I love. Second, Pinkie, who I love. So just so much happiness there. It was fantastic. So.
I don't think we're allowed to have a Pinkie Pie song without you writing it. It just has to happen that way.
I guess so.
So, and GM Barrel, you had the privilege of really getting the first time to see Princess Twilight, us interacting with her. The novels take place after Magical Mystery Cure, so Twilight's already a princess. How did you approach that as a character element? And how did you approach her any different from where, if she's now a princess, and what her character is like from that perspective, because she's now in that different mentality?
Well, yeah, first of all, I didn't know that book was going to be the first thing that
Oh.
people saw of Princess Twilight, but I just kind of approach it in a way where, somebody who has been given responsibility and they're kind of nervous about it and they want to do their best, and Twilight is just so wonderful in that she really tries hard with everything, and she's careful, So I imagine someone like that who's a bookworm, who has been thrust into the spotlight, feels kind of nervous and apprehensive. And luckily with prose, you can kind of delve more into somebody's head and see how they're feeling about that internally.
Well, it was very nice because I know a lot of people were saying that now that she's a princess, she's going to be different. But no, it was actually very nice to see, yes, she's a princess, but she's still the same Twilight. She just has... And I think that was the great part about the book, is you saw this added layer of responsibility, and she's trying to deal with it and all that.
Yeah. I mean, she wouldn't change, not
Right.
really. She's the same pony.
Yeah.
She's the same.
And in season 4, I can tell you, she's the same pony. She just has that much more responsibility.
So
And
Twilight confirmed for season 4.
there is Twilight in season 4. It is true.
All right, Master of Arts Larson. The word alicorn. The word alicorn is first used in Magic Duel. First time we hear it in the entire show.
Parkour? What did you say?
Alicorn.
Alicorn.
Alicorn. No, yes, parkour is that's a season 5 thing, right? The word alicorn is first used there, and I don't know if you looked into it, because it was somewhat of a big deal when the word alicorn was used. And I actually looked up a little bit of the history of it. It was first introduced by like Piers Anthony, 20th century writers. It's not an old thing, so I think that's why it was such a big deal. Did you know that you were on the Wikipedia page for the word alicorn? You had that honor. So was it actually a big deal when you guys were thinking about using this word in the script writing?
Well, this is hilarious because I've never written that word into a script. Somebody added that in, I had called it the Unicharm in Magic Duel. Somebody changed it to Alicorn Amulet somewhere along the way. And then in Magical Mystery Cure, Pinkie Pie swings through and says Wing Party, and then they changed it to Alicorn, I think, or something.
So,
I've never written that word
So
in the
someone
script,
needs
so
to
take me
edit-
off that page.
Someone needs to edit that Wikipedia page.
Yeah, and I think Megan even mentioned that in one of her scripts. Originally, it said Pegacorn. And I think just as things have developed of what people, I think actually in the fandom have called it, things have adjusted. So, so yeah, it's not necessarily that we called it that to start off with. We've called it different things. You know, things adjust as we go along.
Did you have funny names for it? Did you just make up things for it? I want to hear what the funny names for it were.
I just never, it never really came up. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I said, it was called the Unicharms. That was the only time it was mentioned in that one. And then in Magical Mystery Cure, it just it just didn't come up.
Game Master Barrow. Pop culture references are used a lot in the books. We see a lot of them in the show. We see things like the Big Lebowski reference that was used visually. In the novels, they're everywhere and they're awesome. I think my favorite was Twilight reading the book Princess Bridal.
Yeah.
Are you encouraged to use pop culture references, or are these things that you have to fight for to say, no, everyone's going to love these?
I didn't really have to fight for it. I just wrote it in and they liked it. I thought it was funny because, you know, I have just words as my medium, so I can't really put in a background reference that's visual, like the comic books or the TV show that, you know, could be like a fun little Easter egg. I have to actually write it and hope that people will think it's funny or like it, or, you know, maybe like an adult reading it or an adult reading it to their child might think it's funny and entertaining.
The list of the bands that are playing at the Pony Palooza was just
I have a whole list of probably about 20 more that I didn't put in, but
they cut you off at a certain point.
well, yeah, I mean, there is a certain point when you should stop, probably.
All right, Amy, my agent lets me use my first name, Keating Rogers. You're known for Pinkie Pie episodes, obviously, and she tends to sing more in your episodes. Is this a particular signature that you do where you're adding multiple songs, or is it, all right, we have one big song and we want 5 other little songs, or is this your like signature saying Pinkie Pie is going to sing 5 or 6 times and they're going to be real short?
I think I just like Pinkie to sing, and if I have the opportunity to write Pinkie, she just ends up singing. In A Friend Indeed, we knew that there was going to be the big, epic Smile song. That was a given. And then once we named Cranky Doodle Donkey, once we named him that, it was just like the sky opening, and I got to write a bunch of other little ditties. You know, when Rob Renzetti came up with his middle name being Doodle, it was wonderful because my brain exploded and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to write that song. You know, the welcome song was just, of course, she would sing a welcome song to somebody. So yeah, it's just Pinkie would sing, and you know, that Lauren established that Pinkie would burst into song. It was fantastic because I like bursting into song, so it's just, okay, yeah.
You do have a ukulele with flowers on it in your lap right now.
I do, and it's really just because I haven't tuned it yet. It's not because I'm particularly going to burst into song at the moment. I was just going to try and tune it. No.
Well, I think that we were establishing it on the way here that you are Pinkie Pie at this point, because every time I meet you, you're talking about cupcakes or sweet things, and you were saying that you were going to be playing your ukulele on the plane.
Yeah, I didn't end up. I played it in the airport. I didn't end up playing it on the plane because I was like this on the. It would have been very uncomfortable, and my neighbors would not have appreciated me playing it on the plane. But I have played it on a plane. When I was sitting with my kids on a plane, my daughter and I actually both broke out our ukes and were playing it on our ukes on the plane. So that has happened. But I did hand out chocolates on the plane on this trip to my
I did not
neighbors.
think of that.
So just imagine if you're ever on a plane, you'll get free chocolates and get sang with the dual ukuleles if you're ever on a plane.
Yeah. If I had had more room, I would have pulled out my ukulele and and handed out chocolates. But, it was a little cramped.
So, Miss Barrel, it's always fun to meet background ponies, especially in the show, especially in the books. You use a lot of them. Some of them you name, and some of them are described by their mane color and their fur. Is there a certain protocol? You're allowed to name this one, but you're not allowed to name that one, or how's that work?
I haven't been given any parameters in regards to that, but I will notice sometimes my final manuscript has names changed once in a while. There's a particular pony that goes by both Sweetie Drops and Bon Bon, and I've written Bon Bon into the first book, and her name stayed. And then in the second book, I wrote her in again, and I read the final book, and it was different. And I was like, what? What? And then, in the back, there are activities, which I also write, and they didn't change her name. So I was really confused by that. But they never really tell me which ones I can use or not. I just choose ones that I like, basically.
So Bon Bon is basically cursed with never being able to sing, because in the show they change her voice actress every time.
I think that's kind of funny, too. She that's like her thing, She has lots of different names. Screen name, maybe? I don't know.
So, M.A., speaking of songs earlier, Amy was telling us in past panels how she writes a song, where she'll actually record herself and play it, and she'll do the tunes and everything. Describe your writing process. Do you actually sing to yourself as well? Or do you just write, sing it like this, and then you write the lyrics?
No, I sing to him, too.
You want me to write one right now?
Well, if you want.
No, if you look at my first song from Cutie Mark Chronicles, I clearly don't know how to write lyrics. So I've only done 2 before Magical Mystery Cure, that one and the super speedy Cider Squeezy song, which is... What are you guys watching over there? What's on? Oh. So I would just pick a song, that one is obviously Music Man, listen to it, get the rhythm of it, write the lyrics, and then somewhere say, in the style of such and such. And I think in Magical Mystery Cure, Daniel took that in the style of and, went for it. But I don't really know much about musicals. Don't particularly like musicals.
Well, with Super Cider Squeezy, that was an obvious choice to reference, say that this is a Music Man. Was there any song in Magical Mystery Cure where you're like, write it like this other episode? Because they were kind of more unique. They were kind of their own thing in that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting episode to look at because the song where Twilight gets sad, that was 100% Daniel. I didn't have anything like that in there. The Behold Twilight song at the end, I didn't have anything like that in there. So he added in a couple songs, he cut a couple other songs, or somebody cut a couple other songs for time that really didn't do anything story-wise. Like I said, the Stephen Magnet thing. But I had a reference to, one of the big songs I referenced, the Celestia song. My reference was the song from, what song is it? Beauty and the Beast, I think?
The song from the movie Beauty and the Beast? You mean like a Tale as Old as Time kind of thing?
Yeah, that song.
Okay.
That was what I was imagining when I wrote the lyrics for that song. And then Daniel rewrote the lyrics, but that was the kind of vibe I was going for.
Well, cool.
But that episode's like a little bit of an anomaly because he did all the background music too, so he really needed to just kind of deconstruct it and, he took the vibe of what I was going for and did something in that vein.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the cut songs and such, because this is a question for all of you. When we look at animation, you rarely get deleted scenes, bloopers, anything like that, because it's so expensive to produce. But in the script writing and in the novel writing, you do have things that are cut for time. You have things that are missed. So I'll just go down the row. Is there any scene that you particularly liked that just for time, and can you describe it to us? Share with us some cut scene?
See, I always hesitate to reveal stuff because I think, what if I have an opportunity to put it in something somewhere else?
Right.
Because
Well, you can start. I guess I particularly liked the one on the Mystery on the Express, the scene that was cut with that. Can you share that with us real quick?
oh, the bit with
Applejack.
Applejack. Okay, so at the end of Mystery, Applejack actually confessed. Also, she actually took a bite of the cake. So yeah, that was cut for time, I guess. But Twilight ends up commending Applejack, saying, "Oh my gosh, Applejack, you're so awesome for not taking a bite of the cake. You're so great. You're so honest." And Applejack is just like, and like losing her marbles, and just like, "I did it. I had the bite of the cake too. I'm so sorry. Blah 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 blah." And they said, "Well, but there was no evidence. We didn't see anything. How did you not get caught?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just better at it than these, losers." So.
Which is funny because I loved hearing that because there's memes everywhere saying that Applejack was the only one not to eat the cake. So it's fun to be able to just, canon that.
Right.
Can we hear any of the lyrics to the Stephen Magnet song?
Sorry, what?
Can we hear? Do you recall any of the lyrics to the Stephen Magnet song?
I mean, it ended with, "Come on, boys, let's bring it on home." It was him and then like a bunch of other dragons doing a Fantasia Hippos kind of thing.
I have imagined that you're making all of this up just to tease
No,
us.
man, this is all true.
All right, well, I think that at this point we're going to open it up to some Q&A. So what we're going to do is we have these two microphones set up here on the left side and the right side. We're going to have a couple people that are going to be just tell your question to the person who's going to be handling that. I think we got some couple of people screening in there. Again, nothing about season 4, except for, I guess, we talked a little bit about your song. So while they're getting lined up, can you tell us anything more about your song that was revealed at Comic-Con?
The songs are, I've heard the songs are awesome. I haven't heard them. I know what I wrote, what was sent to Daniel and what, was in my brain. That was awesome. But it always changes. But that means the next time I go to a con, once it's aired, I can sing you my versions that, will be totally different from what Daniel's done. So that's exciting for me.
I was just going to cut in and say I've read that episode, and it's my favorite episode so far. So you guys are in for a treat. I haven't heard the songs finished, but
right.
It's pretty awesome.
Are you given scripts in advance so you can write the novels and everything?
Yes, it's been a weird process for coming to working with Hasbro and what I'm allowed to see and what I'm not allowed to see. But yes, I have seen scripts.
Well, I thought it was funny you saying that the Twilight book was not supposed to be the first one to come out. Which one was originally supposed to?
Twilight was supposed to come out first, but I was going to say, when you were just asking us about cut scenes.
Oh, yeah.
The original, I wrote a whole other original book that had to be rewritten because of, then they realized I needed to see more scripts. So there's a whole other book about Twilight basically going to learn about each of the pony tribes and living as one of each of the pony tribes and this whole thing. I don't know, but it's
she
probably better.
She was not a princess at that point, so
no, she wasn't. So there's this other weird thing in existence. But I actually did want to tell everyone too that the next book coming out after Rainbow Dash is going to be a rarity book. So a rarity.
Do you have a title yet?
I do, but I'm not allowed to say.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and start over here with questions.
Hi guys. First of all, I think you guys are all awesome, and Amy, your ukulele playing is fantastic.
Thank you.
But this question is for Emmy Larson, and I know that you write on Gravity Falls. So particularly Little Dipper, I think, or Double Dipper, which is one of my favorites. And I have a question that I don't know if you can answer or not. I don't know if you know, but they release the episodes really strangely. They release it one episode here, and then they'll wait 3 weeks and release 2 more, and they'll wait 2 weeks and release another one. I don't know if you know why that is.
I have no idea. I learned that yesterday. Somebody told me that. And
They asked you that?
That the season lasted over a year or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay, thanks.
Often that just has to do with like how the production is going and when things are timed and that kind of stuff.
So, you have a question over here.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say you guys are very talented, and I just want you to know all these people are here because of your talent, and you should be proud.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And actually, that leads me to my question. When you're writing an episode, are you really thinking about the bronies? Do you think, man, are the bronies gonna like it, or the grown men are going to like it, or do you only strictly aim for the targeted public, the little girls? Are you thinking about us or everyone in general?
We really write for the target audience. That's who we have to focus on. But when we wrote, when we first started writing, it was writing for the target audience, but also writing for the parents that would be watching with the kids. So we always had adults in mind, and as the adults writing, we always were writing to amuse ourselves as well. So, the fact that you guys enjoy it is because, probably because we as adults who write it enjoy it too. So, we do factor in that adults are hopefully going to enjoy it because adults are going to be watching with their kids. So, it all plays in together. Now that we know you guys are watching, yeah, we have that in the back of our heads, but in the end, it is, our target demographic is still the same.
I'd actually like to hear Jim answer that question too, because there's a lot. It almost sounds like it was written for us in some of those books as well. Do you have multiple demographics in mind when you're writing the books as well?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. I agree with Amy though. When you're writing something that an adult will be involved with, as well as a child, you want the adult to have a good experience. Mm-hmm. If an adult is, sitting down to read their child a bedtime story and they have to read it, it's better than, I don't want to dumb anything down.
Right.
You don't want to talk down to anyone.
But the adults can still giggle about the cult play reference.
Right. I mean, it's not something that you really think a child is going to understand, but it still works, and I think it can be funny for whoever's reading it. And if adults enjoy it, that's great. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Writing for young people doesn't mean dumb,
Right.
You can still write to kids and try to be funny and smart about it and entertain yourself without writing adult humor,
Yeah, a lot of times I try to make myself laugh what would be funny to me,
exactly.
and I think that's the best way to go about it.
Well, it's funny because of the production cycle, you've only really known about the bronies as you're writing an episode fairly recently. Mm-hmm. So season 1, 2, you were already done writing season 2 before season 1 even aired, correct? So.
Yeah, we were in the midst of writing season 2 when we kind of were figuring out, kind of learning about the bronies. So, season 1 was done. And so we weren't about to suddenly change what we were doing. We were going to keep on going.
I think I first heard about you guys at the Super Speedy Cider Squeezy story meeting. It was that far along in the season.
Yeah.
Before I even first heard about you guys.
Yeah, Megan was, the first BronyCon that I went to was last year, and Megan was working on season 3. So, season 2, we were done with that. So, the only thing that I had changed was in last roundup I had changed Ditsy Doo's name to Derpy in the script. So yeah. But I didn't change how that scene played out. I changed a character because that's who you guys wanted her to be. That's who you named her.
I will admit to maybe adding her in to it.
Right.
For you guys.
So
I noticed that she was in it, and you called her a gray-haired, yellow-maned Pegasus. I loved that, the subtlety of that written part.
She makes more appearances later.
Oh, good. So you have a question over here.
First of all, I want to say that I believe in M.A. Watson. I have never doubted you, man. I never doubted you for a minute.
Thanks, dude.
And my question is, who is your favorite character to write? Out of all the main shit, the princess, the background pony, who's your favorite character?
We don't really write the background ponies. She does. But that's something the animation team puts in.
Yeah.
So
Well,
none of them.
When you're writing, who's your favorite pony to write?
Rarity probably be tops. I really enjoy writing her.
Pinkie Pie.
It's kind of a split now between Pinkie Pie and Rarity. I always used to say Pinkie Pie, but now having written a Rarity book, I feel closer to her.
She's awfully fun.
She is fun.
She is fun.
Yeah. So.
Hello. My question is semi-serious, I guess. For writing for Fluttershy, it seems like it would be a difficult character to write for because a lot of the situations she finds herself in aren't situations that she would want to be in the first place. I always think of that scene in Magic Duel where she's, I want to go home, I want to just sit in my closet. And I kind of imagine her as doing that for all the adventure episodes. Is she a difficult character to write for because of that?
She can be challenging because often in, like a group scene, the other ponies will say things, and it's like, what is Fluttershy gonna say? Is she gonna say anything? And so it's, you want her to contribute, but, if everybody else is, kind of ponying up, what is she gonna say? And so she can be challenging, absolutely. But then there is the trick of, having her, really, you have to give her that motivation of, what is she going to say, and just finding that oomph in her. But yeah, she is challenging, I find.
Yeah, at some panel, some point, I said she's the hardest to write for me, and everybody's like, you admit it, you suck at writing Fluttershy. That's not what I said.
Got you.
But it's hard to, with Rarity, who's got a really big ego, it's easy to, poke her and have fun with her and things like that. But when Fluttershy's got like a low ego, that's harder to be funny with. Mm-hmm. And every time I would get a story meeting, I'd cross my fingers like, no, not a Fluttershy episode. And I never got one. But I like using her in the side, like for a joke here or a joke there. She's great for that.
Yeah.
I mentioned this yesterday or something, but there's a moment in the Cider Squeezy where everybody's yelling at Applejack, like, you always run out. And Fluttershy's like, for the record, I don't mind. And then they just talk over her. And I like using her like that. Like, it's in character and, funny. And
Yeah.
she is tough, though.
Thank you.
But I'm good at writing her.
She had a great moment in the Magic Duel. Fluttershy was very brave in that episode.
And there was a bunch, there was a whole thing about her. There was a lot, that episode was really weird because that's the shortest script I wrote by far. It's like 28 pages. And there was a huge B-plot that got cut out for time. And I watched the episode, I'm like, yeah, it wouldn't have fit, but I don't know how, the physics of it, I
You
don't
keep
understand.
teasing us with these cut scenes and then you don't explain them.
There was a whole Zecora training Twilight thing. Teaching her time spell, like there was a lot of actual training stuff that got axed.
Wow. Was she lifting an X-wing out of the swamp at some point?
She was floating in the air. Again, I'm not joking.
Zecora on her backpack.
Yeah.
All right, my question is for M.A. Larson, but could also be applied across the board. You've mentioned, particularly about Magical Mystery Cure, that musicals were used to speed things along. Does this mean you would have some episodes like that where you would like them to be more akin to Royal Camelot Wedding in that they were a two-parter and you feel you couldn't fit everything you wanted to in?
I mean, I'd like them all to be two-parters. But it's, we're freelance writers, so it's like they tell you, you come in and they're like, you're doing this episode. So when I get to Return of Harmony, I'm like, wow, I get to do a two-parter. That's so cool. It wasn't my choice. It was like, here's what you're doing. Magical Mystery Cure is the only time I asked for it, just because it seemed like an awful lot. But mostly it's just like assumed that they're all going to be half-hour episodes, and you just got to try to find a way to get it all in there.
Yeah.
Do you have a page limit?
I have a word count that I'm supposed to hit, but with the Rainbow Dash book, I went way over it, so I'm not really sure how that's gonna go.
My question is for the show writers. I've noticed that for all the epic two-parter episodes so far, the finishing blow on the villain has always been a magic spell. I've been wondering, is that a requirement for the show? Is it just a coincidence, or is there some other reason for that?
I've never written a two-parter. And so I don't
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 two-parters, I think, or 4 of them, I guess.
Yeah.
And Megan wrote 2 of them.
Yep.
I wrote 1, and Lauren wrote 1.
Lauren
so.
wrote one. I think it's probably because Twilight does magic. So that's probably, part of it.
Although in the wedding one, they were fighting. There was like real, legit fighting.
Yeah, there was some, yeah.
I meant the finishing blow on.
Oh, the finishing
the
blow.
fi-
Okay.
It
is not a requirement.
I don't know that it's a requirement. It's probably just awesome.
I think Rainbow Dash could deal an awesome finishing blow.
Okay, well, duly noted.
Okay, first off, let me just say, best night ever is the episode that got me into being a brony today.
I love that episode.
Okay.
I'm glad.
And I just want to ask, like, in the episode, I noticed that you gave Fluttershy a more aggressive side. Did that ever feel uncomfortable at any point?
No. It was really fun to have her just lose her marbles and go, that was fun. And I forget how I referenced it. I think I called her Norma Desmond, which, just having her just go totally crazy and lose it, that was, because Fluttershy is difficult to write for, to have her escalate in that way, it was fantastic. So it was fun.
I think we're running a little bit short. I want to make sure that all the kids get a question. So if there's any kids in line, we're going to send them to the front of the line, let them ask their questions first. So we'll go over here for those.
All right. Hi again to everyone here, except for G. I didn't see you yesterday.
Wasn't here?
Oh, okay. So my question is actually to her, but I guess this can be asked across the panel too. How did you get into writing for the show? Mike, it's directed at G because I'm like, how were you asked to write a book about My Little Pony of all things? And I guess for the other writers, maybe it's because you were part of Studio B, but how were you actually asked to write the show, in a sense? And also, Mitch, Sonic Rain Boom, not only got me being a brony, but made me love Rainbow Dash. So, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, for me, I had been working as a ghostwriter for probably 3.5 years before I was asked to do this. And my editor thought I would be perfect for it. And I really enjoy doing it. And I think it was at first sort of a test run, and there was a good response. So, just got lucky, I guess. It's kind of like, I think with these guys, you're a freelance writer and you get approached to do certain projects and you don't really know what they're going to be, and sometimes they turn out being really, really cool, like this. So, yeah.
For me, I worked on the Powerpuff Girls with Lauren Faust. And on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends with Lauren Faust. And so I knew Lauren Faust. And so when Lauren Faust was pitching My Little Pony, she approached me and said, hey, if this goes ahead, I would like you to write for the show. And I said, yeah. So that's how I got on the show.
I wrote one episode of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. That's where I met Lauren. And I think, I may be remembering this wrong, but Amy and I have a mutual friend called Randy who knew that Lauren was looking for writers. I think I asked Lauren if I could write for the show. She didn't ask me, so I think that's how it worked.
Good call. Yeah.
I love it. I want to write on your show, but I don't want to use my real name.
Yeah.
Am I up or something?
Go ahead.
I have two questions. They're both for everybody there. The first question is, how is Twilight being an Alicorn going to affect her relationship with her friends? Like in the 4th season.
She's still gonna have a good relationship with her friends. Her friends are still her friends. And it's not like she's like, oh, see you later, I'm a princess. That's not the kind of pony Twilight is. What her becoming a princess does is it gives her more responsibilities and she has to deal with that. But that doesn't mean that she's gonna, shun her friends in any way. She doesn't, move out of town and anything like that. So that was the first part of your question.
Second question is, I'm not sure if any of you guys wrote this episode, the Apple family reunion. With the 2 shooting stars at the end, was that intended to be Applejack's parents? Because that's what somebody told me.
I don't know who wrote that.
That was a Cindy Morrow episode.
That's Cindy Morrow, okay.
And I think Megan has referenced that, I believe, but you're going to have to watch another panel for another convention because I think maybe Megan has touched on that.
Yeah, I've heard that referenced, but I don't know honestly whether that is or isn't true or not.
And
so
plus,
I don't
that
know.
would be a DHX edition as well. 'cause
Yeah.
That's a visual thing as well.
Yeah, so I don't know the answer to that one.
Thank you.
So I want to make sure that the little girl in the Fluttershy shirt gets a chance to ask her question too.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have a question for all of you. Do you have any advice for aspiring writers? Like people who want to write in the future?
My best advice is to take writing classes and write a lot and have your writing read out loud and take people's advice, or listen to people's advice, and even if it makes you really cranky, listen to it and kind of let it sift through your head, and whatever sticks, then apply that to what you've written and change your writing accordingly. But do a lot of writing, because the way to be a writer is to write.
I would say to also read a lot, and then you'll see what you like, what you don't like. You'll be able to start out by trying to emulate a certain voice if you like a certain style, and you can find what fits for you. But reading is definitely a part of it, I believe. Mm-hmm. And even scripts, if you want to write scripts, read scripts to see how they work on paper.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. Read. Just read. See who you like and see how their writing works. And,
Thank you.
I read the Harry Potter books late, like way after everybody else did, but I got so into them and I just studied them and then I read them again and try to see how they work because they really work. Mm-hmm. So just do that. Like find something you love and see how it works.
Thank you.
All right, unfortunately, everyone, this is going to be our last question right over here. So we won't be taking any more questions, but here's our last one.
Okay, my question is for Mitch. I know today is your birthday. We were wondering if you have any plans to celebrate tonight.
I'm going to BronyCon.
Well, I think that BronyCon is so incredibly happy that you shared your birthday with us that BronyCon, I think, wants to share something with you.
Look at that. That's nuts.
I don't know if you can see it, but from
Oh my goodness.
So if you want to know who to blame for this surprise, the man is right there. I blame Full Papers for this.
Thanks, guys.
Mitch, if you want to get down by your birthday cake so everyone can sing you happy birthday. And Amy, if you would like to lead us.
Yeah, I can lead. always have to get my leg up. No, I am not ladylike when I play my ukulele. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mitch. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Woo!
Thank you. Appreciate it. No way.
Thank you so much, writers. Let's one more round of applause for Amy Keating-Rogers, for GM Barrow, and happy birthday once more to M.A. Larson. Thank you very much. There's still lots more panels. Be sure to go to all the other panels today and stick around. There's more stuff on the main stage as well. Thank you.
Is there anything in particular that's hard to do?